Shoulder sideways, smack it in the air.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Process. Y'all got me, a.k.a. Tim Reddick, off mic. Got to your right, my man Leon, a.k.a. 3J Studios, representing center on A mic today is Chuck, OSMG, that's Organized Sound Music Group, and then the infamous 4C in the building, a.k.a. Cliff Solomon, like the Bible. Hey, today's today, man, and we about to bring it together one more time. And the misdirection and unfocus.
Put my last name in it, bro.
I put his last name in it.
Start it over.
Hey, yo, welcome back to The Process, everybody.
Back up.
I don't need them. Welcome back to The Process. Introductions.
Man, y'all already know what it is. It's Ogo, man. At 3J Studios everywhere.
CG Beats, OSMG, Organized Sounds Music Group.
Both see it, Cliff Solomon on board.
Today we're gonna be discussing why we feel like the youth is the way they are. You know, a little disoriented in the sense that, you know, they're a lot more defiant. They're kind of fed up. You know, they're leading the movement with the rally and everything. And, you know, they still at each other's throat left and right. Whether we're talking Milwaukee, whether we're talking Chicago, or whether we're talking Detroit, you know, it's turmoil. How do we get past that, fellas?
Honestly, how we get past it, I think, like bro said, the youth is not understood by us older people. You know, how we get past it, first off, we need to learn how to put ourselves in other people's shoes.
That's a great point.
And break down why it's the misunderstanding, right? I mean, we can take something as simple as slavery, right? The African American culture, youth, know how it feels, and I think now more than ever, every other culture, or just being a minority, not even just a black person, but just a minority in general, but now all these other races, the youth is understanding our voice, right? So we can take it as far as back as Dr. Martin Luther King, right? At that point, it wasn't nobody else's buy-in, and we were all by ourselves. This youth now, like with the whole Trayvon Martin, everybody that done died, the movement is different now more than ever because we have different cultures and different races bought into, hey, we being mistreated, and now they're even frustrated. So now they're trying to find their own way and create a new path, and us as elders, we're not really ready to accept it.
So think about it. If you look at us, when we was youth, we was angry. It goes back to the 70s, how stuff was put in play. Okay? Why this little boy angry? Why he found the streets to find love? Well, let's see. Daddy couldn't find a job. They rather gave the job to his wife. You know what I mean? Then he trying to sell drugs to hide the pain. Do drugs to hide the pain, sell drugs to make money to feed his family. Then he locked up. There go a kid growing up without his dad. Now what happens is, it's like we're going to give the mothers everything she needs to destroy herself. You know, that help destroy her son. We're going to give them government assistance. We're going to give them stamps. We're going to give them that. But the father can't live here. When a man get used to not being around, after a while, he's not going to be around. He going to come every day going to turn into every other day going to turn into once a week going to turn into a month going to turn into whenever, or he locked up. So the youth just, they misunderstood, because I was a youth before, you know, and I could see where we misunderstand them.
Fair enough.
You know?
I get that. Cliff, what's your take on the situation?
Well, we're talking about youth being misunderstood. Like, really, what's the misunderstanding here? You know what I mean? Like, you're saying they're angry. You're saying they're this. Times are better now than when we were children. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
We were boxing up against some other odds. You know what I'm saying? At that time, like Tone talks about, where, like, you know, even Pac and whatnot, it was like, you know what I'm saying, man, if you made it to 21, you know, it was a blessing to be alive, you know what I'm saying? And I'm here over double of that, you know what I'm saying, I'm still here to be alive, to be here with y'all, right? So, like, what are you really mad at when it all comes down to? You know what I'm saying? Because times is better for you. You know, I just want to know.
The ongoing challenge for every youth is challenging the previous generation.
Get out there.
Who does that?
It's not going to stop.
No, I'm saying who does
It's not gonna
challenge
stop.
the other generation?
As a child, you're told to do by your parents, and it's based off of their experience.
Agreed, a whole lot of people, not just children, a whole lot of adults have to unlearn hold on.
Okay.
You have to unlearn a whole lot of shit. In other words, like, there have been things that have been passed on by our parents and their parents onto us that ain't really what it is. And then you sit here and you're out here and you live life, and then you come to the realization, like, that shit ain't fact.
And let me chime in real quick, Chuck, and I'm gonna get the mic back to you. I like the point you made right there, because I kind of view it like, you know, the way I was parented isn't the way I'm parenting my child right now.
Correct.
Because me being parented by my parents back in the 80s through the 90s, early 2000s and whatnot was for that time period. We live in a different time period.
Do you discipline your kids?
I have disciplined them in the past, you know what I'm saying? But they have not been disciplined in the form of physical discipline. You tell me what I asked for. Yeah, from where else am I? Right. So I don't do that no more because I don't necessarily have to.
Different era, different generation.
What I was gonna say was also when we was talking about how we raise our kids, a lot of kids mimic their parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like for instance, a boy on a basketball team who's talented, he can hoop, but the coach not playing him. But the first person he hear, that coach ain't shit and woo this and this and this, he go to practice with that attitude in his head.
Most definitely.
Because he mimicked what his parent just said about the coach. You know what I mean? So, I mean, again, like, they are misunderstood. I get it. It's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't with the shorties, but they angry for a reason, man. You know what I mean? Like,
But,
I get
okay.
why they angry. Everything is a cycle. In the early 90s, it was slick jeans, right? Slick jeans, I'm gonna say late 80s, early 90s, slick jeans. They straight legs, right?
Yeah.
Then they went to cross colors. Remember, orange pants and all that, they was baggy. Where it recycles right back. Now, us as parents, I don't understand, like, why my son will wear some skinny boy ass jeans and sag them. That's
I ain't gonna even lie, them bitches
just feel good on my ass.
That's what they living in.
That's just
The same way our parents say, why do you do this and why do you do that, man? Because you're a
not
product
gonna stop.
of what you grow up in. So that's just how it is, man. But I'll be honest with you, man. A lot of people got shitty ass kids because they shitty ass people.
That too.
That's just the truth of it, man. There's a lot of shitty ass people in this world, like people that they do all kind of stuff in front of their kids, like you say, man. They cuss in front of their kids. They when their kids is like 2-3 years old, they think it's cute when they cussing and they sing it a little Boosie song and they on hopping on their mama FaceTime telling their friend, get $1,000, show me your pussy. Like, you know, shit like that little kids do, man. This is like, that's why, man, it's fucked up and it's going because people had kids at a younger age.
Yes.
So now you got kids raising kids and they don't know what the fuck going on, so.
Okay,
and them same kids that having kids got their mamas watching their grandbabies and they in the club.
Exactly.
Kenny,
Finna get pregnant the
Yeah, I
same
think
night.
that is you know, it does start at home, so we do got to talk about the parents when we talk about this type of stuff. But it does take a village at the same time. So you know, a lot of youth just growing up as a product of their environment.
okay, since we have, like, I don't know about you, Trey, but we have Chuck G, Kenny, they have interracial babies, you know what I'm saying, and what this means to them, because it's totally different. What makes these kids that angry these days? What do you guys have to contribute to as to why they are that
What
way?
makes them angry though?
Trey,
What by
because when, like, with my daughter, like, literally my daughter has told me, I wish I was white. Because she would look like her mom and her grandma. And I know you deal with that on a younger age. You deal with that again, out here being here, and you deal with black kids that deal with being out here.
I
Your perspective of it.
I won't say my kids are upset about it, but exactly, you know, I have my daughter, she's 8 years old, and she, you know, comes home and tells me things that some of the kids tell her, you know, about, you know, darker complexion people. And a lot of them are stereotypes and shit like that, you know, stuff that we just get over. I laugh about it and tell her, like, you know, you basically just can't feed into ignorance. But I don't think they're going to grow up upset because they're going to realize that they do have both spectrums and both of them are treating her good. So at the end of the day, it don't even matter how.
Chuck G.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you because I had this conversation with my son before. So my wife, she is half Mexican, half white. Our kids, 50% black, 25% Mexican, 25% white. Now, my son and daughter, they would tell you, they don't even like to be, the white part to even be in them. They want to be considered 50% black, 50% Mexican. Well, actually, Elijah like, because his grandma be like, well, what about me? That's my wife's mom, and he would tell her, he didn't tell her, but he would tell me and his mom because part of the United States used to be part of Mexico. Who took that away? And he, you know, his anger would be, you know, the white people took it away. Or who brought the black people from slavery? I mean, enslaved them. You know? What the hell, bro?
General. We're talking about general.
Well, I'm just saying, you asked me a question and I'm just going to tell you the anger from the youth, why they so angry. Part of that, why my son told me himself why he's angry. Okay. You mentioned biracial kids, so I'm finna tell you the anger that my biracial son has.
Okay.
You know, but my kids not in Chicago or Milwaukee, so they out here where it's very diverse at. Versus where I was at, you know, it wasn't diverse. You had the white people in Bridgeport and you had us across the bridge, just like Milwaukee. How they separate the Hispanics and the blacks with through one bridge. You know what I mean? So that's why I was getting to where I was getting at what you asked me. But
Trey, you've had children, black, not interracial, that have grown up out here. How do they react to this situation and you react to them reacting to it?
Well, for the sake of like this podcast, I might go have an interracial kid just so I can fit in. But
You don't.
I will say this though, man. My kids, I'm just saying, my kids, they're not angry. They don't. This is their life. Like they've always come up in the Waukesha school. They don't know anything different. So for my kids, this is normal. They got white friends. They got a couple black friends, but it's like this is normal to them. They don't know the other side. Now, me personally, I was in what's called the Chapter 220 program, where they took you kids from the hood and bust them out to the suburbs.
Only the smart ones.
Yeah, I went to school out in Mequon, and that shit made me angry because I hated going out there and then getting bused back to the hood, getting made fun of because you go to school in Mequon, so you don't fit into the school, but then people were like, oh, you know, you smart at this and that, but damn, like everybody else, when your little brother on the same bus with me going to the same school. So I was angry about that as a kid growing up because I wanted to I tried everything, man, to get suspended, to get out of the school. I wanted to go back to Milwaukee public schools. My parents wouldn't let me.
What made you want to gravitate towards the public schools and what was going on with them as opposed to maybe as adults us getting better education for you guys?
Kids don't think about education. Kids aren't in school for education. They're there for social. They're there for friends. I wanted to be with my friends in my neighborhood. I didn't want to be out there. Even though there was some black people out there, we all clicked up. But still, man, it was a 1 year, man, I was like the only black kid in I had to bully somebody to be my friend. Like,
when my kids born and raised in Waukesha, they not angry. They know. They socialize. Their whole life is when they go to school. be honest with you, majority of the time they on their iPad doing schooling and stuff like TikTok, all this other stuff, man. Like how they cope with it is how they cope with it. Now if it's a big problem or something bothering them, they do know how to come to me. But if there was some other stuff like some street stuff with my son or whatever, I would pretty much have that same talk with him that my pops had with me.
Pull up.
Now, Kenny.
It is a generational thing though, because exactly what he was saying, like his kids are on an iPad and stuff like that. Like my daughter, she's doing the virtual learning thing, so there's not too much, you know, I guess racist shenanigans that the kids could get into because the teachers could shut that shit down now.
Be like, don't get it twisted. Like a lot of I done caught my son if he online with the headset on. I mean, bullying go on online too now.
They do.
You know what I mean? But my son could get angry. Like, what the hell you getting so angry for? All you gotta do is just unfriend his ass and mute him.
Yeah, I hate that.
But like,
You know what I mean?
I don't believe in all that internet bullying and shit.
They feel like they got still something to prove.
right, Kenny, you're going into it, so you know all the stories that people have told you, whatever, about how it goes when it comes to doing all that shit. How do you approach the shit going into it, knowing that that's what's going to happen, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, other cats to where it has already happened and, you know what I'm saying, it's going to happen. How do you do it? Because, you know what I'm saying, you got little babies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I really don't understand where that question was going, to be extremely honest. Yeah, no, my kids, man, I'm trying to keep them as low as possible. At the end of the day, you know, I'm gonna give them everything that I can and as little as possible, so they don't overthink the situation. But at the same time, if it ever presents them, like they can either shrug it off. Like exactly, we live in an age where it's so easy to mute shit, but we don't want to do that.
You know what else too? Some parents nowadays need to understand too, like kids gonna get into it. If you get into your kids' beef all the time, you just gonna be a parent trying to fight every damn battle. Sometimes you could get into it and them kids be right back like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like some of that shit you just gotta let it be and let them figure it out on their own. You know, long as it ain't no back to talking about, you know, oh, I'm gonna stab you when you get to school or woo this or whatever, then you ain't gotta worry about none of that stuff. But like, other than that, a lot of them, I let them figure it out on their own, man, because they know how.
Warning, the views and opinions expressed by Beyoncé Knowles aren't shared by all the cast members of the Process podcast. We actually love the Queen Bee.
Are you switching?
Do you believe that Beyonce is the greatest entertainer?
No, I think Beyonce is overrated to me, to be honest with you.
Facts.
Tim?
Facts.
Tim?
Yeah.
Men lie,
all
women
I
lie,
can
numbers
think of is
don't.
that one bad picture the photographer put out there out of all the good ones he took. When she was dancing hard on stage and her face was back here. You can see the Adam's apple. And Beyonce, forgive me, you gorgeous, you beautiful. You know it, you don't need to hear it from me.
Women
But
not
you know, like I know,
Man,
you know, like
she's
I
not
know,
watching this.
that picture was like,
Tell the truth.
you know, I'm telling the truth, bro. I don't know
She not watching
nothing.
this either.
No, that picture was not flattering.
Beyonce, she said fuck
Clip.
So to answer your question, definitely one of the greatest entertainers of all time, not even close. I've been around long enough.
Listen, the greatest entertainer, correct? That's the question? All right, B, love you, very attractive, yet, you know, do it for me nonetheless. I mean, I know, like, she sell out wherever the fuck she goes.
Ever she
She been selling out for a long time since she
Damn,
shit
you're
Destiny
gay.
Child, no disrespect.
And we all stop kissing her ass.
Man, I'm not thinking
Janet Jackson
I love
was
to
a
do
better
track,
performer.
that's why we on the subject. Needed to say, though.
Jackson was a better
You know,
They fuck her like Tim did.
No, she's a woman, so as a man, I want to see a woman perform. I don't want to see Mike. I don't want to see Prince. I don't want to see Chris Brown.
I wanna see a
I don't
girl
want to see
perform.
Usher. I want to see Beyonce because she's a
I want
woman.
to see. I'm not in the. If I want to see a woman perform, I go to a strip club. But when I'm watching music, you know what I'm saying? I want.
Why you gotta pay?
I want to see.
Stand off camera.
You pay for a ticket for Beyonce. What's the difference?
I might get upstage to get at it.
Hey man, you voted for Kanye, so I can't.
Right. And I'll vote for it in 2024, pimpin'. And I will continue with that Yeezy.
Beyonce is
pair of black Yeezy.
Does it stop, bro? Put my last name in it, bro.
I put his last name in it.
Start it over.
I'm sorry.